Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar on Good Jobs, Good Business to introduce our Good Jobs Advisor cohort here at PCV. We're really excited to have you join us today to learn more about our Good Jobs Advising program, as well as our Entrepreneurs of Color Fund partnership that we're hosting with. Really excited to share more details about this program with you today. So thank you. Before we begin the webinar, I just wanted to go over a few quick logistics. We'll be walking through a relatively short slide deck with you today. I'm joined by my colleague Daniel Wada from PCV's Business Advising team, and we'll walk through some introductions briefly in a moment here. We'll walk through the slides with you today, and we'll leave ample time at the end to go over any questions from the audience. As you have questions today during the webinar, please type them into the Q&A chat box so that we can field your questions either throughout the webinar or at the end of our conversation today. We anticipate our content to take about 45 minutes, but we have blocked off an hour for this conversation so that if you would like to stay longer and ask and have any additional questions answered, we'd be happy to spend that time with you. Now, to take a moment for our introductions today, I'll introduce myself. My name is Christy Henrik, and I'm a project manager on PCV's research and consulting team. Pacific Community Ventures Research and Consulting Team was the team behind the creation of the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit that we're using in partnership with small businesses and organizations that support them across the country to help them improve the quality of jobs they offer to their employees while boosting their bottom line. I work in partnership with PCV's Business Advising team, as well as with the small business owners and many other organizations to implement the toolkit, collect data to understand how the quality of jobs are changing as organizations work with the toolkit, and then continue to refine the toolkit over time. I'd like to briefly turn it over to my colleague Daniel, who's joined me today to introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel Wada, and I'm an experienced manager on the Business Advising team. Our focus is onboarding new small business owners to our program, as well as advisors, finding the best partnership fit between the business owner and the advisor, managing their partnership from start to finish, rematching as appropriate, and supporting as needed.
Great. Thank you so much, Daniel. Wonderful. So as I mentioned today, I just want to thank you all again for stepping up and being here as we go through learning more about the Good Jobs, Good Business, Good Jobs Advisor cohort program, as well as our partnership with JPMorgan Chase to support the Entrepreneurs of Color Fund. The agenda for today's webinar is to learn more about job quality here at Pacific Community Ventures, what we mean when we talk about it, how we became interested in this question. Then we'll talk about the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit specifically, the resource that we have, and how we use it to work with small business owners across the nation. We'll then speak specifically about PCV's Business Advising program and the cohort of Good Jobs Advisors that we're looking to put together and that we really hope you'll sign up to be a part of. Finally, we'll speak more specifically about this partnership that we're alluding to with JPMorgan Chase's Entrepreneurs of Color Fund and how we're using the Good Jobs Advisor cohort specifically to support small business owners that are a part of this cohort. And then finally, we have our call to action for you, how you can sign up to become a Good Jobs Advisor for this partnership. So first, I'd like to orient you to this question of job quality and small business. As many of us are familiar with, over the last several years, the unemployment rate across the US has continued to drop. In fact, it's below 4%. However, many of these jobs are low wage with little opportunity for advancement. In fact, many employees across the US are employed by small business owners. Over 30 million employees in the US are currently employed by a small business owner, and nearly 6 million individuals across the US own a small business. Businesses with fewer than 20 employees created 1.1 million net jobs in 2015 versus businesses with over 100 employees who created over less than 500,000 net jobs. As we were examining these types of trends here at Pacific Community Ventures, we became interested in the questions of not only job creation, but what types of jobs were being created for both the owners of these businesses as well as their employees, and the types of resources and tools and support that were available to these individuals, including the financing. We realized that if we wanted to really think about questions of income inequality and creating more equity across the workplace, we needed to provide these small business owners in economically underinvested communities, not just with the financing to create jobs, but also tools and resources and financing to create quality jobs for their employees. So at PCV, we have an integrated model for creating quality jobs. Our organization not only provides loans to small businesses in the state of California, but also has a national business advising program where we offer pro bono mentors to support small businesses working on different areas of their business, whether they're looking for help with their finances, a marketing plan, or like we're talking about here today specifically, questions of human resources, employee engagement, or other aspects of job quality. We also have our research and consulting team, which helps think about questions of impact. And tying these threads together in the question of good jobs, good business, and how we're thinking about job quality is an integrated model we've created here at PCV around this work. Which brings us to the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit. A few years ago, PCV used grant funding to explore ways how we could enhance job quality in retail for small business owners and their employees based on these trends that we were seeing. We noticed that small business owners who were strapped for time and resources needed a practical step-by-step guide. As we were going out into the community, conducting interviews, speaking to both small business owners and their employees about what they would need to actually practically improve the jobs both at their businesses, or what types of changes in their businesses, what types of changes to the jobs at their businesses could actually help improve the quality of those jobs. We took from our findings and put this together in a step-by-step series of practical guides, resources, and tools. We also realized from our conversations that business advisors and having a pro bono mentor with these business owners is a really important step. PCV's business advisors work with business owners to provide an additional layer of support. They can provide structured guidance, they can bring their experiences to the table, and they can also bring in additional tools and resources from their own professional experiences. This is all brought together for business owners around a practical thread where we aim to show them that providing good jobs is not only good for their employees, but also good for the business's bottom line. Based on PCV's field building research, as well as our desk research, we structured the toolkit around 6 key themes that we found that business owners and the field wanted to receive their practical guidance on. The toolkit is structured around these key themes, and each section provides actionable insights around how-to guides, tools and benchmarks, and case studies. Topics include everything from areas like employee compensation and areas of benefits such as retirement and health, as well as areas that help employees think about, that help business owners think about engaging employees on the job, as well as building employee culture and hiring, training, and professional development opportunities. While the toolkit was initially published as a PDF, we've since brought the toolkit into an online interactive resource as a result of learnings from our initial pilot of the toolkit, that having this in a more interactive and easily updatable form would better benefit the community we're seeking to serve. We'd like to take the opportunity to show you the toolkit itself. So when you land on the landing page of the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit, the website is broken down into the 6 main areas of the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit. As we mentioned, it covers everything from topics like employee compensation, health benefits and retirement, to topics such as employee engagement, hiring and professional development, as well as topical areas such as paid leave today. If you hover over one of these menus here, each section is broken down similarly. It has an overview of the section that walks through what the section contains and what does it mean when we talk about employee compensation. We then go over a business case for each section. The business case seeks to help the business owner understand and translate, if I invest in employee compensation, what might I expect to see in terms of a bottom line, an operational, and/or a financial return to my business if I invest in this area. The How to Get Started section is next, and How to Get Started is effectively how to implement. It contains step-by-step guidance across several sub-areas of the main topic here. It tries to take the business owner from point A to all the way to point B, C, D, all the way to Z for what they might do under employee compensation. It's meant to be comprehensive. So if a business owner has already worked on certain areas, they might want to start somewhere down the list. We also include an area called Other Options in several of the sections. What it's meant to reflect is that if a business owner, or if in an engagement with a business owner, you realize that perhaps raising wages, if I'm thinking about the area of employee compensation, isn't feasible. What else might I do that could mimic the effects of raising wages for my employees, and puts forth some options and helps the business owner think through those different areas. Finally, in additional help, we put forth other nationally based resources so that a business owner always has a place to turn. We do have a main search bar on the website so that folks could always look for things more organically. And then we also offer a not sure where to start. So if you're not quite sure based on neat topic areas above, you could always pick a subtopic below. So for example, I'm interested in helping my employees learn and grow. Perhaps you're not sure where that maps above. You could click it and we'll put some suggested pages that you might want to go to. So for example, this might lead me to employee engagement, how to get started. And this would take me to an employee engagement subpage here. And I would be able to see what I might work on under how to get started of employee engagement. All of the subpages of the website are set up the same way, which makes it standard navigation once you're in one of the subpages. We also include regular success stories throughout the website, so you're always able to link to examples of businesses that have either implemented the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit or are other examples of businesses who have worked on improving the quality of jobs offered at their business. We hope to continue building out the repository of small businesses using the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit, but that is a continued work in progress. The website does have several other components that you can take some time to poke around on, including, for example, an overall case for good jobs, walking through a more holistic business case for improving the quality of jobs, a page dedicated to advisors, and more.
Fantastic. Thank you, Christy. Now that you've seen how the quality jobs work at PCV came to fruition and got a brief overview of how the Good Jobs, Good Business website works, we'd like to share more about the role of PCV's business advising program and, of course, the role of Good Jobs advisors. Let's start with the role of a Good Jobs advisor. We expect Good Jobs advisors to spend time with the small business owner, conversing in a way that works best for both parties, whether that's through emails, phone calls, video conference, or even in-person visits. Good Jobs advisors' roles are that of a coach, sounding board, and thought partner to help the small business owner think through what a successful implementation would look like, develop a plan to improve job quality, and provide guidance using the Good Jobs, Good Business toolkit, outside resources, and their own skills and expertise. We also ask that the Good Jobs advisors provide feedback on their partnership and participate in check-in calls with PCV. And more to come on the specifics of when these calls will take place and details of the Entrepreneur of Color Fund schedule on a later slide. And as Christy mentioned, small business owners are often strapped for resources and time, and they wear many different hats in their business. So we've structured this partnership to be long-term to account for competing day-to-day business priorities that may take precedent over efforts to improve job quality at any given moment. With that being said, it's natural to have lulls in your partnership, as well as times where you'll connect with the business owner on a more frequent basis. Now, before I dive into the resources provided to our Good Jobs advisors, I'd like to encourage our advisors to bring their own materials and resources to their partnership, as well as share with us at PCV what worked or didn't work. We want to learn from our advisors so that we can most effectively facilitate successful engagements and outcomes for future business owners we work with. All right, so first we have our Good Jobs, Good Business toolkit. And we've seen different forms of effective collaboration. Two examples that come to mind are, one, advisors use the toolkit as a primary resource, and two, advisors use the toolkit as a jumping off point to develop structure for their engagement, but also bring in their own resources to share with their business owner and even build custom materials. Next is our Good Jobs Advisor intranet. This intranet is an online platform created for our Good Jobs advisors to visit as a one-stop shop for all the resources and documents that we provide for this engagement. You'll find resources such as webinar recordings, a partnership guide, goal-setting worksheets, timelines, and more. We also have our Good Jobs Slack channel for all of our Good Jobs advisors to help build community by connecting with each other, sharing learnings, asking questions, and celebrating victories. And one of the main questions that we get asked is, do I need to read through and be an expert on the entire Good Jobs, Good Business website? And our answer is absolutely not. Typically, the small business owner will identify one specific topic of the toolkit or use the toolkit as a guideline for framing their focus areas and setting goals. But we do recommend becoming familiar with the structure and key topics of the toolkit so that you're comfortable with navigating through the website. And of course, if you don't feel comfortable answering any questions about the toolkit to your small business owner, you can always contact one of us at PCV and we'd be glad to assist. Additionally, we'll be hosting Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit training webinars where we'll give an in-depth website demo, a deep dive into one of the toolkit sections, as well as share a Good Jobs, Good Business success story from our pilot program. PCV will continue to publicize these webinar dates to the broader community. However, once you are a part of the cohort, we'll be sure that you are aware of the toolkit training webinar dates so that you can complete this milestone.
Great. Thanks so much, Danielle. So we want to take the next section of the webinar to share more detail on our partnership with JPMorgan Chase's Entrepreneurs of Color Fund, and then tell you how you could sign up to be an advisor for this partnership. So as we've mentioned, PCV has a partnership funded by JPMorgan Chase to support their Entrepreneurs of Color Fund. We've shared briefly throughout this webinar that when PCV launched the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit, we were able to pilot it within our own loan program where we paired small business owners receiving a loan from PCV's loan fund with business advisors from PCV's business advising program. And we received some really encouraging and exciting early learnings and successes from that program, which led to this incredible national partnership funded by JPMorgan Chase to expand the toolkit to 60 small businesses nationwide. For example, one of our small business owners who piloted the toolkit, a female small business owner in San Francisco who owns a bakery, Batter Bakery, used the toolkit to increase employee engagement at her bakery. Her name was Jen Musty, and she worked with her advisor, Ann Claire Broughton, to help sort of increase some slumping retail sales. She was noticing that while her retail employees at the front of the house wanted to be able to do their jobs, they were often running to the back of the bakery to support the kitchen because there always seemed to be more to do there. So her and her advisor, Ann Claire, worked to put together what they called a mini game where they set up retail sales milestones paired with small but exciting and rewarding incentives. For example, in the month of October, hosted a pumpkin carving party for her employees, which also built team camaraderie, to incentivize her retail sales staff to focus on the retail sales at the front of the house. This turned into an employee engagement and training opportunity because instead of simply asking retail sales to focus on retail sales at the front of the house, Jen and her advisor, Ann Claire, also put together upselling guides, worked on small staff training, demos, and actually ensured that her retail sales staff were trained and prepared to upsell. So instead of just selling one cookie, things would turn into an order for a dozen cookies plus a cake plus some breakfast scones. And so through this engagement, Jen actually saw her second highest retail sales month since opening her bakery 10 years ago. And this was really exciting for her. The concept of mini games have been so successful that she's since started a second mini game and also along with it rolled out an innovative Instagram training tool to solve some more training related challenges and encourage more successes that she's had since then. So with successes like this, we've launched the Entrepreneurs of Color Fund partnership that you see here with 3 CDFIs nationwide. The 3 CDFIs are based in Detroit, New York, and San Francisco Bay Area. So we're really excited to have some more nationally based partnerships. The partnership kicked off last summer in 2019 and is a 2-year-long partnership with our final report due in June 2021. We're serving up to 60 small businesses and have 25 of them already committed. So what we are looking for next are some really eager and excited good jobs advisors, like hopefully many of you on the phone today. We ask for a few commitments across the partnership, and I hope that the text on the page isn't a deterrent, but what we hope to have is for this PowerPoint to be able to be a document that you can refer back to if you have any questions. We ask that you attend 4 types of milestones throughout your partnership. First, a partnership kickoff call. The partnership kickoff call would be with the PCV team. The CDFI staff would also attend, and it would be with your small business owner, and it would be a chance for the 4 parties to all be able to meet each other and be sure we're aligned on goals and excited to get to kick off this partnership. You then would be working with your small business owner on roughly a monthly basis, but really that cadence is up to you two to work on implementing the element of job quality that you two decide on. As a reminder, that is really up to you how you choose to work together, but we just put roughly a monthly frequency. And as Daniel already mentioned, it's possible that in certain months or even for a stretch of 2 or 3 months, you won't really have, you know, the small business owner won't really have the bandwidth to work with you. So you might just need to take a pause and then pick up that engagement. We also don't necessarily expect that you're actively working together between now and June 2021. The element of job quality that you may be working on may only take about 6 months, and so that's roughly the amount of time that you work together. We just ask that you return to the check-in milestones. The next element that we have here are progress updates. We'll just be reaching out to you every several months to just say, hey, how's it going? Do you need anything? And all that we ask is that, you know, you try to respond to us. Really, you do your best to let us know. And this is just for accountability all around to both the CDFIs as well as to JP Morgan Chase to make sure that we're all on the same page about this partnership. And then finally, this is perhaps the part that we're most excited about. We have 2 opportunities to all sit down together and have learning and feedback calls. And so this is with PCV, the small business owner, and the advisors, you all. And this is a chance to share really candidly how it's going, progress, reflections, areas for growth, and to provide particularly PCV, the CDFI, with some really robust feedback on how we might what's been working well, how we might better structure the toolkit, the partnership, or anything like that. So that's something that we're really excited to do twice throughout the course of the partnership.
Thank you, Christy. Now, I'm sure many of you are wondering, how do I become a good jobs advisor? And we'll share how to get involved on the next slide. So if this partnership sounds exciting to you and you're interested in supporting small business owners implementing the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit as part of our partnership with JP Morgan Chase, you'll simply fill out a Google form that we'll be sending to you via email shortly after this webinar is over. And we'll be in touch to match you with your business owner and get your partnership started. So thank you all for attending our Good Jobs, Good Business Overview webinar. We truly appreciate you all for taking the time out of your busy day to join us. And we'd like to take the last couple of minutes to answer any questions you may have.
Great, thank you, Daniel. If anyone in the audience has any questions, now would be a great time to type them into the chat box. So we will go ahead, or the Q&A box, excuse me. So we will go ahead and hold for a few minutes to give folks some time to type in any questions that they have now. Great, we're getting a few questions. So I'm just gonna pause and see if we get a few more, so I might be able to group some of them together. Great, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna begin answering questions. So this engagement starts as soon as you are ready to take on a business owner. This question is from Jane. So the partnership is currently active, and we do have small business owners who are ready to be matched with a business advisor. As soon as you are ready to begin working with a business owner, we will be ready to match you. If you would prefer to wait to be matched with a business owner, that is something that you can go ahead and work with Daniel and the team on once you have submitted your interest in becoming a Good Jobs advisor. Daniel, the next question is, what qualifications or expertise are required to be a business advisor? Would you be able to answer that for us?
Yes, of course. So what we're looking for in a Good Jobs advisors is for them to have expertise in either HR, operations, leadership, or have entrepreneurial experience dealing with employees and improving job quality.
Great. A CDFI is a community development finance institution. Community development finance institutions provide financial capital to those in low-income communities who lack access to financing. And the specific community development finance institutions that we are working with as a part of this engagement are providing loans to small business owners. The types of companies and the locations that we are working with as a part of both the 25 and hopefully up to the 60, we can answer this question in one. So the three CDFIs that we are working with are located in Detroit, New York, and California, and both of them have licenses to provide their capital in the states of New York, Michigan, and California, respectively. The types of small business owners that they are serving are incredibly diverse, so in terms of the business sectors. So we have had business owners, and Daniel, feel free to chime in, who are running everything from restaurants and cafes to dog grooming to education facilities, to different types of athletic facilities. So a really interesting range of businesses. I believe we actually just had a real estate business join the portfolio as well. And most of the businesses that we are serving through this engagement have fewer than 10 employees. June 2021 a hard deadline? So June 2021 is when the final results of this project will be written up. However, if you and your business owner are still actively interested in continuing your engagement, PCV will not nullify and end your partnership. We will simply report the results as they have occurred by then. If you're currently advising two businesses, the thought is, and the question is, I'm currently advising two businesses. Is the thought that I will bring these two into the Good Jobs envelope, or would I have a third that you would assign? This is a great question. We would love if any business that you are ever working with at any time, if they're interested in working on issues of job quality, employee engagement, or have a challenge that you believe is relevant to the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit, we invite you to use this resource or speak to the team about how we might support you in positioning your work to use the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit and resources like this. Separately, we are interested in actively matching small business owners we have as a part of this partnership with advisors who have the capacity to serve them. If you don't have the capacity to take on a new small business owner to work on the Good Jobs, Good Business Toolkit, we certainly understand. If I did not answer your question, please feel free to type it in again. Do we work with the business advising people as well? I believe this question is asking, do we work with PCV's business advising team? And the answer is yes. So as Daniel mentioned, both Daniel and I will be working very closely with you on this partnership, as well as the Good Jobs Advisor cohort overall. Daniel will be the one who is responsible for ensuring that you are matched with a small business owner and making sure that you have a successful partnership. If the entrepreneur is not in compliance with the Good Jobs, Good Business system, what does PCV do? We aren't necessarily assessing compliance with a particular system. For an entrepreneur to be part of this program, they have to opt into it. And if an entrepreneur does not show improvement on any particular metric related to Good Jobs, Good Business, that's okay. We recognize that business challenges or other business opportunities may take priority, and that's something that we completely understand. We don't dock points from them or have any penalties for this type of business reality that takes place. As Daniel mentioned when he was walking through the slides, part of why this engagement is structured as a longer-term engagement is to ideally allow ample time for a business owner to be able to work with their advisor and address the reality that business priorities do occur. So for example, you and your business owner may decide that to implement a more structured onboarding program for employees will take about 6 months, but you may actually work together over the course of 10 months because for 4 of those months, intermittently, other business priorities take place. What metrics of growth, satisfaction, reduction of cost are there, if any? This is a great question. So the specific metrics have been, benefits have been really well documented for medium to large sized companies And if you go on the Good Jobs, Good Business website that we shared the link to in the presentation, as well as it's right here on the last slide, when you go to the Good Jobs Strategy page, you can actually see that the Good Jobs Institute out of MIT, this is what a lot of their work leads to. There are specific case studies that adapt to smaller companies. So for example, around 100 to 200 employees. And this is an area of continued research that we're looking to do at PCV for really small businesses. However, one of the things that we encourage and have had specific businesses and their advisors do is think about what would success look like for you at your business, recognizing the limited resources and time that you have. If you go on any specific page of the toolkit, we do link to resources that talk about for any given business. For example, if you implement an employee engagement tactic, this helps link to reduced turnover and what are the financial benefits of reduced turnover. Let me go ahead and see if there are other questions. If I haven't answered your question yet and you think I skipped it, please let me know.
I do see one question in the chat, and that was, what has worked for advisors working with entrepreneurs to start on this journey? So from our past experience, we've seen that small business owners and advisors have successful partnerships when they have open communication, honesty, recurring scheduled check-ins and meetings, and the utilization of all the resources that are available to them and their small business owners. And a follow-up question to that was, what do small business owners experience as the hardest part of this framework? And I would say that the hardest part of this framework is just putting their efforts in improving job quality first. Improving job quality is important, but business owners may not see it as necessarily urgent. Many small business owners are putting out fires on a weekly basis, so it could be hard for them to set aside the time to start the work on job quality. So that's where the advisors will come in and schedule these meetings and set structure in their partnership so that they're able to have a clear path and plan for improving the job quality that they provide to their employees.
Great, thank you, Daniel. It also looks like that our attendee, Bulbul, writes, I was advising a small business owner yesterday, and when she mentioned adding an FTE to her team this quarter, and possibly more this year, I mentioned this toolkit to her, and she was really interested to hear more about it. It felt very natural and part of the conversation instead of something more forced. I think this is a really excellent point, and something that we see often, which is that rather than coming in and forcing this resource upon folks, when it becomes a natural part of the conversation and a resource that is something that is brought in at the right time for the small business owner, it can become a really additive part of whether it's the partnership or work that they're already trying to do. And as Daniel mentioned, then the advisor can become a really key component of providing that thought partnership, accountability, and structure. Does anyone have any other questions? Great. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for your time today. We really appreciate it, and we hope you all sign up to become a Good Jobs Advisor. In the meantime, please look out for our follow-up email. Thank you to Daniel for being my co-panelist, and thank you again for your time today.
Thank you, Christy. Have a great day, everybody.